Oh, I hope this will be a short video, but I want to try to get it all in. I'm calling the video, uh, what was I going to call the video? Uh, oh, inconvenient admissions or something like that, whatever it ends up being. The, I'm going to share some things that I'd rather not share. Inconvenient admissions, something I'm not comfortable talking about, but with what happened today, I feel necessary that I say this. Now, this isn't some fancy studio, right? I've joked before. Look, the ugly couch, right? And cheap green fabric, not some fancy green screen, cheap green fabric as a makeshift green screen. So that image that I threw together in Microsoft Paint, not high production, glossy, paid for graphics, although my friend Michael Savage and Shaky, the producer of Savage Unfiltered, for other shows I'm on, did indeed gift me some nicer, high quality backgrounds I use. Like I was on Rick Walker's show last night, had the nice fancy Detroit emblazoned in the background of me. Not high production stuff, but people make assumptions. So hence the inconvenient admissions. Just because I have a podcast or you see me on radio, hear me on radio, see me on TV somewhere, doesn't mean I'm doing well. And like what? I am an internationally published author. Doesn't mean everyone who publishes a book is J.K. Rowling and Stephen King rich. I am on disability. Yes, thankfully, for a time, I had a nice IT career job with a six-figure income. I was doing well, had a wife. We did the fancy vacation thing, went to Belize for the rainforest, and giving $1 to somebody there to buy a trinket is a major deal compared to what people here claim to be poor have it so bad. And that's kind of what this is about. But the inconvenient admissions, what is embarrassing for me, what I'd rather not talk about, but I need to tell you for context, not some humble brag that I'm some holy, virtuous, poor person. Not about that. This is ultimately not about me. Please bear with me. It'll make sense. All right. I used to have a great income. So, yes, thank you. I have a roof over my head to have this ugly couch in. It's paid for, but it was paid for before I became needing to or couldn't no longer work and had to go on disability. But yet, of course, I do have to come up with the extortion money to pay the state for the privilege of keeping the roof over my head in the form of property taxes. But where I'm going with this is, all right, let me just I'm going to save that. I'm sorry. As this just me talking to you, just throwing this together. I got in the car that was gifted to me by cousins, not a car that I bought because I couldn't afford to buy a car that was gifted to me by cousins because the old beat up Grand Am that I had before it was falling apart to the point that it couldn't be on the road. So the car that was gifted to me, and that, yes, with the price of gas, I can't afford to go many places in, but I decided I would treat myself to a 4-piece McNugget for dinner today at the local McDonald's. Okay. Yeah, it's not a dollar menu. Anyway, I think they have one item on the dollar menu, and then the rest of it is $2 and $3. A four-piece McNugget, $2.50 is what it would be. I decided I would treat myself to that for dinner. On the way, I get to the corner of North Line and I-75, and I happen to look off between the on-ramp and the freeway. The tree area, what would normally in the summer be lush green with leaves and normally hide what I saw, a tent back there. Somebody living there in a tent, trying, not obnoxious out on the street on somebody's sidewalk, or trying to be somewhat private and hidden and out of the way. And to the left on North Line at 75, there's a panhandler. In my mind, obviously a real person in much more need than me, right? I'd like to have it like I had it when I had a six-figure salary, but I am appreciative and grateful that I had it that good for a while. And I'm appreciative and grateful that I have it as good as I still do now compared to so many other places. I'm not starving. Look at me, right? My BMI says I could stand to lose a few pounds. I'm not starving to death, as some places, some people are. Now, granted, I'm probably more overweight, not because I eat a lot of food. It's that I'm eating fatty foods that not necessarily too good for my already bad health, causing me to have more weight than I should at any rate. Again, embarrassing, not so nice things to admit, but please bear with me. Please, please. Could always be better, but could often be so much worse. Can we appreciate that in the US, Canada, and even most of Mexico, the land of plenty, we have little to whine about here, but there are so many people endlessly whining, endlessly. And I don't want to do that, but I am telling you this not to whine, but for context, the pretext of where I am coming from in regard to this. So the panhandler versus other panhandlers, I've seen them with my own eyes. I've heard the stories from others. Somebody pulls into a parking lot with a Cadillac Escalade, a six-figure vehicle in itself, get out all shabby looking with the cardboard sign and a bucket, walking over to the corner to panhandle. This guy, I believe, living in that tent really needed the help. So rather than continue to the McDonald's to spend my $2.50, I gave him $1, turned my car around, came back home, took out a slice of bread, put it in the toaster, and that is my dinner for today. Again, I'm not saying that to make it about me. I'm saying that to prove a point on disability income, and given modern communomics and hyperinflation again, I'm feeling the pinch too. So not only is that my dinner today, I did not have breakfast, I did not have a lunch. It is my breakfast, lunch, and dinner for today, period. And again, I'm not saying that for you to feel sorry for me, but that you feel sorry for that person. And we all have a modicum of damn, uh, not speculation, not perception, modicum of I think you know what I mean. A sense of proportion is what I'm getting at. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. And again, I feel it necessary to tell you this because assumptions I know people make. Published author, Oh, he must be doing well. No. Has a podcast, must be doing well. No, I do this on the cheap and would not be able to do it without friends who, through biblical community, and they share my values and principles of biblical community and desire to share, that we try through better policy, biblical policy, to help more people in general through biblical community rather than forced communism. They're willing to subscribe to my, not just paid subscribers. So yeah, all right. I'm going to give that out. tinyurl.com/subscribe to CTP. All right. Yeah, I'll run together, of course. tinyurl.com/subscribe to CTP. So no, I'm not going to be too proud to say, if you share this show's vision and mission to make things better for everyone and help keep it on the air and going. And yes, I've got a website, josephmleonard.us. So if you can subscribe or buy a book, that helps me out greatly. Subscribing helps keep the show on the air and this website going. Otherwise, eventually, they're going away. So I'm not here because I'm doing well. I'm here because others' biblical, God-given free will desire to subscribe, be a paid subscriber, to help me put this on the air and keep the mission going for better policy to help all people through biblical community, not bastardize, warp people who think they are God, wanting to lord over all of you through communism and steal money. Like I said on the show the other day, if the government, through what? Property tax, sales tax, income tax, tax, fees, right? The gifted car. I've got to pay for the bare minimum insurance, extortion government requires me to have for the privilege of being able to drive to McDonald's. If we have better policy, people will have more of their own money to be able to buy the McDonald's Mickey D 4 McNuggets. How about we have policy where poor people get an exemption from the sales tax? Like I was on with Rick Walker, Maverick News. They have PST and GST, providential sales tax and governmental sales tax. Well, if that totals in Ontario to 15%. So that 250, which of course in Canada, I think it's more like 15% more on that. How about a policy of exempting people making less than whatever the amount? Have a car to be exempt from paying the PST and GST so they can afford some McNuggets to actually eat. But at any rate, I gave him $1, came back home having a piece of toast today for my breakfast, lunch, and dinner today, because I recognize that person is in far more need. And again, I am only telling you these things about me, not because I want to, but because I feel called to. I need to tell you now, this one time. I mentioned I'm on disability during my show, but I don't go in this depth like I am here as to my financial situation. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about me. This is not about me. This is about things for everyone to be better. And those who share that thought, therefore, help me to do this voluntarily. They help me to do this because they want to help me to do this. They're not forced to help me to do this. So, indeed, at any rate, I don't want you feeling sorry for me. If you're willing to help out, oh, absolutely, positively, so appreciated. I'm doing this on the cheap, but it still costs money. tinyurl.com/subscribe to CTP, or go anywhere and buy one of my books. I only get a small royalty, but hey, it helps above and beyond my disability income. So many more have it far worse off, but yet the massholes, pardon Christian show, but yeah, gotta say it, coin the hashtag massholes out there who never appreciate anything they have, always constantly whining and moaning and complaining. They complain about that person's greed or corporate greed or this greed or that greed, but they are constantly demanding they be given more, clueless to the irony of it. Their own personal greed is okay, others is not. That's the communist, the commie, fascist, socialist, leftist mindset who don't appreciate anything that we have in this land of plenty and opportunity. Opportunity to try to succeed versus so many other places, they don't even have that. So, again, at any rate, and I know there'll be some that will go to josephmleonard.us, the contact form. Oh, you're a liar, you're a fake, you're a fraud. Why? Because feelings. Oh my God, their feelings, and I'm upsetting their feelings talking about policy they can't refute with logic, reason, common sense. No, they want to steal from others, to take for themselves as handouts. They won't admit to that, but we all know that's the case. So, biblical community versus communistic theft and redistribution. Why some are willing, through free will, acts of their own desire, to help fund me doing this. And as long as they're helping fund me, and if you will, again, tinyurl.com/subscribe to CTP, just a couple bucks a month to keep this going, and the mission to make things better for everybody, everywhere, not just a select few, not just me, not just you, right? Those who have it worse off than us, those willing to help me keep this mission going as long as it can, or it does go away, because I cannot personally afford to keep a website going, or even as low key and low cost as I make this podcast and attempts to appear elsewhere to deal in policy issues. Again, that assumption. Oh, I see him on radio. I hear him on radio, see him on TV, must be doing great. No, that's why I'm admitting to things I would otherwise not like to talk about. It's kind of embarrassing. But you needed the truth to understand the context. But I know some, again, they'll reach out, you're a liar, you're a fake, you're a fraud, this is all a scam, a con. Like the guy, the person in the Escalade that parks the $100,000 Escalade and then goes out and panhandles. Oh, them, they got no problem with, but somehow I must be a fake, a fraud, a con artist, a scammer. I'm sorry, at any rate. And yes, I'm getting a bit emotional here. And again, ultimately, not what I wanted to share with you today, but something I absolutely positively needed to share with you today. So I could keep rambling. I know there's other things I wanted to say, thought about saying in the car ride on the way home that I'm forgetting, but I don't want this to be an hour-long thing in and of itself. So thank you all. Take care. May God bless you, and may God bless all of America again.